Welcome to the Day One Podcast. I'm Adam Daly.
And I'm Brett Nord.
And we're back again for another, bye week. I guess we don't do this every week. I was going to say another week of this episode. Bi-monthly. That's right. And we have a special guest on with us today as part of our kind of Meet the Team series.
Before we do that, 10 is a milestone.
Yeah, no, it is.
10, right?
10 episodes.
Yes.
Episode 10.
What's the next milestone we're waiting for? 50?
It's got to be something high.
We won't say anything until we hit 50.
Sounds good. Yeah, 10th episode. This is very exciting. On our 10th episode, we have another guest on our show. We have a member of our iOS team, Brad Forsyth.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Brad.
Hey. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
We missed him on the last iOS team, but now we've got him, and we're excited to talk about him and just get his story about Day One and whatnot.
He didn't realize when he didn't make the first discussion with the other two that he was going to get a spotlight all by himself.
Solo.
No, actually, I did realize that.
It was planned.
I wanted a show all to myself. So.
He planned it.
Yeah.
He's the VIP today.
Well played.
And that's okay. We're excited to have him on and talk about things about iOS and kind of his background and how he came to be on the team. So updates. Should we just dive right in now?
Yes, we had a lot of questions about what we mentioned last time about 3.0.
What were the questions?
Just how's it coming? When do we have a date yet?
That's always the tricky thing, and that's something I've learned over the past 2.5 years is just release dates are an interesting thing in software because you want to make sure you're releasing the best version of what you have, and we'll talk to. I'm going to talk to Brad a little bit about that later, but 3.0 is officially released to external beta testers.
Yes,
so
it is.
All those have signed up through our beta program and our volunteers to help us out with that now have access to 3.0, which gives them access to the new editor on iOS, gives them access to dark mode if they are premium, and also audio recording. So very cool stuff. I've been building the help articles to get us ready for that, so when it goes live, we can release that out to the public and let them know what's new, how they use it, etc. So
that's right.
Very exciting stuff. 3.0 it's getting closer. I think the external beta tester, and Brad can back me up here or correct me.
Sure.
Which is more likely?
Probably correct me. Let's just be honest. But the external beta tester is a big step because we're even closer now to a public release of it, correct?
Yeah. So we've had internal releases for a while now.
Yep.
But we're finally at a point now where we can share it with everybody else, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
So it's a big step for us.
I'm stoked, and making the articles has been fun. I love the look of our app. Can I just say that? I know maybe it's a personal bias, but
yeah, me too.
We have a real slick looking app.
Yeah, and in 3.0 it just gets so much slicker. I think so much easier to use and really, really beautiful.
Yeah, the editor and all the things you can do with that are just great.
Day One 3.0 slicker than ever.
Now with that,
more slick than.
Well, no, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your
you should. I'd said enough.
Your ad there. No, that was great. We're just going to have you make ads for us, Brett. But I wanted to say or address something that has come up a few times through customer support, through social media, is they want to know, is 3.0 going to be a separate app? Because that's kind of how we've been advertising it, 3.0, 3.0, 3.0. But, and the only reason we did that beforehand, back when 2.0 was released, is because the App Store wasn't built to support paid upgrades. And so after all the work that was put into 2.0, it was released as a separate app and a paid upgrade. Now that we've changed over to the subscription model, we don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
So 3.0 will go out to anybody that's on 2.0 now, and the features that you have, the performance improvements you'll get, and then if you're a premium subscriber, you'll get the new features like dark mode and audio recording. So it's not going to be a separate app, and I think that's great. I think that makes it a lot easier on us, a lot easier on users. No transition. It's just an update through the App Store. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me assuage your fears.
Fears assuaged.
Did I use assuage last time? I don't want to overuse my big words.
You did.
It sounds good though.
Impressive.
I used the word antithetical once in a business setting at a previous job, and nobody knew what it meant. And they all teased me about it, that I was using too sophisticated of words. So they went to the thesaurus and tried to find all the big words they could to reply to me. And I was like, come on, guys. Anyway, assuage. I think that's a cool word.
I love it.
That's a great word.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to address is the editor. And again, Brad can either fix my comments or back me up. But we've had concerns about things breaking, specifically with Markdown in the new editor. They hear new editor, and we've had some people voice concerns that, well, what happens to all my existing content? How am I going to go forward with this? And I want to say, there was a Facebook post on the community page about things they wanted supported, and the good news is most of the things that you're asking for are supported, right? You can still type 2 asterisks for bold on either end of your bolded text. You can still do that with 1 asterisk for the italics. You can do checkboxes. All of that is still supported. Indents, lines, horizontal lines. What else? Tables, for the most part. There is a little visual issue with tables, but I've been working with the engineers on that.
Bullets.
Lists. All of that still works. And you know what? One thing that hasn't worked in our current editor is auto continuation of numbered lists. Guys, the auto continuation exists in the new editor.
It works really well.
And I am excited about that. I know it's a small little thing, but that's going to work and it's going to be great. So I just wanted to make that known, is we're not trying to break anything.
Right.
We want to support all the content that you already have, at least in a way where it displays fine and doesn't break when you edit it, etc. So we have all that in mind. Murphy, I think, mentioned 2 episodes ago that we're users. We're users of Day One, and we want our content to work too.
Sure.
So we have all of that in mind. We're not just trying to break it for breaking's sake. We're trying to make this a nice, easy editor that's more friendly to a wider audience. Because I think Markdown is a little more narrow, in my opinion. At least it was when I started here. I'm a little more familiar with it now. But anyway, those are my comments. Brad, can you say anything about that? I mean...
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We're working really hard to make sure that everything that you've had before is going to continue to work.
Yeah.
And it might just be a little bit easier and friendlier to use now for other people who haven't been familiar with Markdown in the past.
Yep. It is a concern that we have, and that it's in the forefront of our minds with the whole new editor. So that's all I got. 3.0. It's coming. External beta is out right now. If you have been interested in the beta testing, and I say that with a caveat that we do expect, if you're on the beta, we do expect you to provide feedback regularly. We kind of keep an eye on that and make sure that those are valid and that you're using it and trying to help us out. So if you want to be a part of the beta, send us an email at beta@dayoneapp.com.
Great.
So,
right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else? That's it for updates, guys.
That's a lot.
No, it's huge. Absolutely. Yeah. I say that like... It's just a little chunk, but no, it's Brad's
big.
right. Brad's totally right. It's very big. All right, we have a discussion today.
Yes, we do. I want to talk about Alan from BC, Canada. This is 2 sessions or 2 podcasts in a row. We've talked to 2 Canadians, and they've been great.
Our neighbors up north.
That's right. Yes. So thank you, Alan, for the time. We're going to play some clips from Alan, and I think you'll enjoy what he had to say. First, let's meet him.
I'm Alan Baleward from Vancouver, British Columbia. I've been using Day One since the first time it came out. I've got almost 2,100 entries in it, and my first entry was in 1989.
Dang, so he must have historically journaled then. Because Day One came out. Yeah, he's super hipster. No, Day One came out in 2011, about March. But that's cool. I love being able to go back and historically enter in data, especially if it was from another source or whatever. That's really cool.
And he'll talk about that.
Entering in old journals. Okay, perfect. So that's what he talks about.
Well, I've always been into journaling from way back in the old days with I had a blog, sort of back in the early days of the internet.
Sure.
So I've always sort of been, I went back and read some of the entries in it, and it's really, really terrifying. I was a very emo, I'm the sort of person that I would punch nowadays.
Oh, man.
But it was a record, it was a record. So when Day One first came out, I jumped on. I mean, it's beautifully designed. It worked really well. So at one point I went back and I re-imported basically every journal entry that I could find from sort of blogs. And I used to hide messages in the comments, sort of these vague messages to other people on, in my sort of circle of friends who may or may not read them.
Yes.
Again, sort of vague allusions to, the girl that I might like and, that sort of thing. Like I said, it was really sad.
The important stuff, though, right? That's the important stuff.
Sure. I love that. I love that he didn't filter that stuff, because that's part of his history. That's him looking back at that 18-year-old or 16-year-old kid, and it's real.
Well, there's a healthy aspect to it too. Like we tend to put our best face forward on outward facing things like social media. Day one can allow you to be more open with yourself, a lot more introspection, and just be free with your thoughts, which is cathartic. And I think I've mentioned that a few times, but I love it too. He also mentions here about the metadata in his entries.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just love having metadata about things.
Yes.
So being able to go back and tag locations and tag tags and be able to find, I've got all my old stuff tagged with something like old journal entry. And being able to just sort of go through and do my best to stick a pin on a map for where various things happen, and be able to look back and sort of, say, oh, I remember this time when I was on vacation in Las Vegas and this thing happened, and be able to just kind of see all those little pins on a map.
I need to get my pins to spread out more. They're all too centrally located.
I was going to comment, I don't think you're supposed to do any entries when you're in Vegas, are you? Supposed to
Yeah, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, not even in your journal, right?
That's right.
Oh, Vegas. I don't go down there for all the glam and everything. I go down there for food.
The buffets.
Yeah. Well, not even the buffets. The buffets are great.
Sure.
I'm not going to lie there. And I won't plug any of them here, but for me it's a food vacation, going to the really nice restaurants. Like some of the more famous like TV chefs have restaurants down there, and they're very tasty.
Yes. They are quite good.
Right?
Yep.
Brad knows.
Yep.
His reasons for journaling, he talks about that.
It started off, like I said, as sort of this sort of emo thing.
Sure.
But it went, exactly, teen angst.
Yeah.
But as I sort of got older, it did become more of a preserving the memories, preserving the pictures, being able to have something that, hopefully at some point I'll be able to hand down to my children.
Sure.
And kind of see, this is what happened. This is why it happened. Here's a cool picture of, me and my, my dad from this time or that time, or this is what happened on this day.
Again, on this day, one of my top features of all time. And mine are coming in more frequently now because I've been here for a couple years. I've imported some old stuff, and so now I get, 2 or 3 notifications a day that are like, you have 3 entries in the past. And I'm like, yes. And then it motivates me to keep going.
Sure. I've often thought, I'm joking when I say this, but I would love to hire somebody to go back to my past entries that I just have a photograph. Well, actually import my photos from the Photos app when I didn't do an entry. And then looking at the picture, create a story from it. Say, he can tell us I like the food because I'm smiling.
Yeah.
It's like I loved the pizza that, and show the picture. And then maybe pull up Wikipedia about the restaurant I ate at and, add some background about the restaurant. And hire somebody to do that and fill in all these past entries. I know that's cheating.
That is cheating.
Oh, gosh.
It's like what do you call it? Like pretend day one.
There you go.
Make up day one.
A ghostwriter for your journal.
They don't have it complete.
His reasons are interesting. That he started out kind of writing down, he says his emo phase, right?
Sure.
Maybe thoughts and feelings that he's going through. Teen angst. It's important to get those things out, in my opinion.
Yes.
I remember sharing a quote, I think it was on the Day One Instagram page, of a musical artist that I really am a big fan of, and he said that a lot of his lyrics come from journal entries. And I thought that was interesting.
Very cool.
And when if you've heard of this artist, Trent Reznor, I don't know if you've heard of him. I didn't know that. I didn't picture that. He's writing down in a journal and coming up with these lyrics, and then he puts them to hardcore industrial music.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I thought that was a fascinating quote,
really
so I
cool.
shared that with everybody.
We've talked about, we talked with Andrea a few podcasts ago, Andrea from DC, with her child. You remember asking her child child was asking Andrea, what are you doing? Oh, I'm journaling. And then she asked the child in her voice, record what you want to. This is the reverse, right? So this is Alan recording at the time something that he wants to play for his kids later of what he was like at that age. I think that's awesome.
Yep.
Instead of, again, sugarcoating, like you said, it's like this is actually what your dad was experiencing as a junior high kid.
Yep. Yeah. Very cool stuff. He talks about his enjoying writing.
Honestly, I don't consider myself a writer. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think I'm far more photo heavy. I don't consider myself a writer.
Mm-hmm.
when I do write, I'm very wordy, and I'm pretty sure, I'm basically, there's not a whole lot of filter or editing down. It's, sort of stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Try to make it as interesting as possible, obviously, but
Yes.
I'm definitely more a techie and photographer than I am a writer.
I wanted to play that clip because I think that's important, because we do get a lot. I'm one that will say, well, I'm really not a writer, so how do I do a journal entry?
Yeah.
And it's a reminder from that clip of the consciousness, just your stream of consciousness, what you're thinking or what you're experiencing. To me, that isn't a writer where you're, thinking how I have to craft this entry perfectly. It's like, it's just top of mind, what you're thinking.
Just get it out there.
Yeah.
And I'm with him. I'm a photo-heavy
Yes.
journaler. I always start with a picture. In fact, my probably 4 latest entries right now are still just a picture until I go back in and add more content, which is more of a nightly or weekend kind of activity for me.
Or you hire the firm I'm going to create.
There you go.
Fake.
The consultancy of adding content to my photos. But no, that's exactly how I start, is with a picture, and then it's a lot easier to start describing something that I see rather than just trying to come up with it ex nihilo, just out of thin air. Yes. And I think one thing that Day One wants to do, and that we're planning on doing, is a writing prompt feature where there's some really rich content to help people get started, because sometimes that can be a hang up. I don't know what to write.
Yeah.
I want to journal, but I don't know where to start. And maybe having a writing prompt like, who was your favorite elementary school teacher or whatever, that can get you started into, thoughts that bring up memories, and then you can put them down on your iPhone or your iPad or your Mac. So
Exactly.
Last one, his favorite feature of Day One.
Either that or the map, like just being able to have that little chunk of metadata down the bottom that says, this was done at this time or this place. Mm-hmm. And having the map in the bottom, and even just silly things like the temperature, the number of steps, just add that extra little bit of context.
If you remember when we talked to Martin 2 weeks ago, temperature was important to him because he was gardening and planting, and so silly to Adam or Alan is not silly to someone else like Martin.
Well, and even so, like I said, my pins are all too close together. And maybe it's a goal, and a personal goal, to get out there and put more pins on a map. Sure. That can, that I can increase my life story. Not that I need to be completely ambitious, but maybe spread out a little bit, get out of my comfort zone, and be willing to try something new. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Move those pins.
That's right. And you know what I love
Mm-hmm.
about the people that we've asked and that we've had discussions with, what is your favorite feature? They've mostly been different. We've had a couple of similarities, but they all find different value in different features in the app, and I think that's great. We've seen that in the Facebook community page, where different people say, I like this or whatever, and then somebody will comment and say, I didn't even know about that. Cool, and then they get introduced to a new feature or something. So that's great that everybody has some sort of value that they're getting out of it, and I think that's awesome.
It is
cool.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Alan, for the time. It was great.
I want to go to BC.
Oh man,
I hear it's beautiful up there.
It stands for beautiful country.
Beautiful country, not British Columbia.
No. Okay. That's right. Well, let's talk to
B-Rad.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm excited.
Oh man, all right.
Brad is too, I can tell.
I can't wait.
Well, we wanted to kind of just get to know you, talk about maybe your background, education,
sure,
and then kind of what brought you to Day One. How'd you get here?
Yeah, so actually my background education is not at all in anything related to Day One. I went to college for exercise physiology.
Really?
Yeah, and I loved it. I wanted to be like a dentist or something like that. But then I just started getting into other stuff that didn't really apply to dentistry specifically, and all the extra classes you have to take, and I just wasn't feeling it. And so I decided I need to find something else that I am feeling.
Well, what is you said exercise physiology?
Exercise, yeah.
How does that relate to dentistry? I'm just not familiar.
Yeah,
with
dentistry is one of those things where you can get into dental school with pretty much any degree.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it was still biology related.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did not see the connection there.
Yeah.
But then, what happened?
Yeah. So, I've always been interested in technology. I've always been an Apple guy for pretty much as long as I can remember. And so I've always wanted to do something in technology. But I just always thought oh, that's for people much smarter than me, right? I can't do that. And so I always just decided to pursue something else. Yeah. But it just kind of came to a point where, oh, there's my phone. I decided, I need to do something that I'm passionate about. I need to do something I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And I'm not excited about dentistry. No offense to dentists out there. It's a great profession. I love dentists, but it wasn't.
You're gonna start freaking people out, Brad. People are listening to this in their headphones and they're like, I can't deal with this. What if they're at the dentist listening to this?
Oh, please, no.
We just added to their pain. I'm just kidding.
But it just wasn't a right fit for me.
Right.
And, technology was, and this is where I wanted to be.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So where were you going to school for that?
I was up at BYU, Idaho.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then did you study that at BYU, Idaho, or did you move?
So all the technology, software stuff, I didn't do that until after I left BYU, Idaho.
Oh, okay.
So I went to a little software coding boot camp in Salt Lake City, and that's where I learned. I started just by myself using websites, free websites, just trying to figure out the basics, I guess, of programming and the concepts. And once I realized that I liked it, and it was enjoyable to me, it was a fun puzzle, and it was cool to create things. Not that I was creating anything cool that time, but it was really fun. And so that's when I decided, okay, I need to really get into this. And that's when I went to a boot camp to really immerse myself in it.
Cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And so since you've been here, Brad, and how long have you been at Day One?
Been at Day One, I don't know, maybe about 2 years.
Nice. And what are some of the things you've learned since you've been here?
So much. It has been such a cool experience to work with one of our senior engineers, BJ. He is amazing and such a great motivator, mentor, everything. He just really helps us learn so much. And so it's been really fun to be able to just grow as a developer and be able to create things that a year or two ago I would have never thought I could do.
Yeah. Now this is totally speculative, and I mean not to disparage anything else, but do you feel like you would have gotten that same experience at maybe a larger firm?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I know that there are some really incredible developers at some of these larger places.
Sure.
One thing I do love about Day One, though, is that we have the opportunity to really get things right and to take our time to make sure that something is just as it should be. And so even if that means it's a learning experience for me to really dig into something that I haven't done before, I have the time to be able to really nail it and make it right. And so having BJ there as a mentor to help me and the other developers that are here, and now at this point I've been here for a while and I'm able to help others back. I'm able to kind of be a mentor to others now at this point, and I know a few things. I still don't know a lot, but I know a few things, and it's really exciting.
Spoke in the wheel. Okay, are you ready? This is a curveball question that I just came up with.
Okay.
You said that you love that we get an opportunity to do things right. What about the bugs that fall through the cracks?
That's true. I mean, things do happen.
Yeah.
We do our absolute best to make sure that things work right for everybody, but ultimately there are going to be those few things. And so when they happen, we do our best to fix it.
Yeah.
I think that there is really no software that's 100% bug free, unfortunately. But yeah, we do our best.
Yeah, you got a point there.
And unlimited patience.
Yeah.
I can imagine breaking something after spending so much time to get it to work.
Sure.
Just to tweak something. That's
sure.
And he comes back and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, I don't mean to. I just wanted to get that kind of perspective because, the people that are listening have probably run into a bug or two.
Sure.
And it happens. And I think sometimes we expect something really high, especially out of the service we're probably paying for. We're like, this should be working, and crap happens.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think that's worth addressing at the very least.
Sure. I think, a lot of times when we design something, we envision it being used a certain way, or we envision a certain, use flow of how something would happen. And there's all kinds of different ways to use this app and all different kinds of ways to get into some of these different features.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't really envision every single one of them as much as we try. And
Good
so
point.
It's great to be able to get these things out into external beta testers, and so that they can find those bugs and report them before they get out to the rest of the world. So if you are on that beta program, definitely, be providing that feedback, because we use it and we do our best to improve on the app from what you say.
Agreed.
And thank you for taking the time to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sure. Exactly.
Speaking of features, hasn't audio been your baby?
Yeah. I'm really excited for 3.0 because I've worked a lot on audio and on dark mode.
Yes.
And those are two of the bigger features that we have right now. And so it's really cool to be able to see it coming along.
What's been the biggest challenge to do audio that our listeners would like to hear?
One of the biggest challenges, we've been working a little bit on transcribing your audio, so that you can then add that as text to your entry. And we've been working really hard to make sure that it's a smooth experience for people, but we've had to work with several different services and try this and try that, and oh, well, this service didn't quite give us the results we wanted or whatever, right? And just trying to find a right fit for the transcription service has definitely been a little bit of a challenge. And so it's taken up some time trying out these different services to get through the right one. But we feel really good about where we are right now.
Yeah. Well, and also I think sometimes I never realized until we started going through this, even like with location stuff, it costs money.
Sure.
Right. So if we're using some other third-party service to transcribe, it's going to be costing, per minute or whatever the time frame is that they charge. And so that's something that we have to take into consideration. Are we shouldering that cost? Are we passing it on to the user? Or are we looking for services that are more affordable? Same thing with location. I know some of our users have said, why don't you use Google? And while Google has a great map platform, per query can cost a lot of money.
Sure.
And either we're shouldering that or we're making our users pay for that. And that's something we have to consider.
Sure. Yeah. So. Yeah. Google was one that we had used for transcription for a little while, and it was great. But again, the cost was at a point where we just decided, let's just go with something that's going to be more affordable and still works great.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So if you're curious about that, I'll let you know right now. I'm building the page for it. You, with our current audio, you can transcribe up to 1 minute, right?
Yep.
And all the text will appear there. It's really cool. It'll like give you a little counter of the word count as you're speaking into it. And then regular audio recording is up to 10 minutes without transcription, correct?
Yes.
So that's what you can do. And then I believe you can have up to 10 separate audio transcriptions per entry.
Yep, that's
so
right.
Great content for you. Now you can do those things, so that'll be awesome. And then also importing. You can import them from like the Voice Memos app.
Yes.
So
yep.
I tried that. You use the share extension from Voice Memos and just pass it on into day one. Are
Pretty
those
cool.
limited to 10 minutes too, I would imagine?
We actually haven't looked at that right now. I don't think they are, but they probably will be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's still
Perfect.
in beta. We're working on it.
Sure. Yeah.
Work in progress.
Oh, but we're in that polish stage, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's cleaning that stuff up and making sure it's ready for the public. So
Sure.
Should we shift from development to Brad's personal use?
Heck yes.
Day one? All right. Brad, how do you use day one? It's my favorite question.
I know. So I'm actually a lot like Adam, where I'll usually just add photos when I'm kind of in the moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I do like having those pins in the places, but when I'm in the place, I want to enjoy the place. I don't want to be writing about the place. Yes. So I'll usually add photos, and then I'll go back and write down kind of my experiences, how I was feeling, thinking, things like that.
You're a big musical guy.
Yeah.
Are you a take video at a concert type of guy, or?
No, I'm
Good.
not. I'm the type. I like to snap a couple photos so that I can remember being there.
Yeah.
I'll put my phone up. I'll snag a photo or two of each band, but then phone's in the pocket.
And you're enjoying it.
I want to be there.
Yeah,
I want to
that's
experience it and live life.
It's worth trying at least. Even if it doesn't suit you and you want to be recording it.
That's right.
That's up to you.
Sure.
But it's worth trying.
Sure.
Absolutely. Good thought.
Sure.
Do I have more questions?
Well, I want Brad to continue.
Please. Yeah,
So
please go.
tags-
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Use
So
tags.
I do use tags sometimes a little bit. I think I have started with day one back in 2012, and I was like really good at it for a while, and then I wasn't so really good at it for a while, and so it's just been in the past few years since I've been here that I've been back into writing again. And so much like that interview we listened to earlier today with Alan, some of my older entries are kind of embarrassing, and I wonder what I was thinking back then, and it's really kind of cool to see the growth and who I was then versus who I am now. But it's been great using day one for all these years. And actually, I remember in 2012 I had first started getting into day one and a couple other apps that I was really excited about, that I just thought the design was amazing and they were just such cool, user-friendly apps. And I actually remember thinking, man, it would be so cool to work at a company like Day One. this is back in 2012. I was going to be a dentist. I had no idea what I was doing. And so now here I am somehow working for Day One, and it's just kind of crazy how life works out that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a cool memory.
So our office is in a little business park, and we're around some other dentists and orthodontics. Do you ever look out the window and think, man, it'd be cool to work for a dentist office?
Okay, I don't. Just I look out and I say, man, I'm so glad I'm here.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
well done.
A filling?
Oh,
just
good.
kidding.
Oh,
just
no.
kidding. Sorry.
I tried to use that earlier when you
That
said
was
filling.
bad. Oh.
I was like, it's okay.
I'm stealing your jokes,
no, it's
Brett.
not. No, I
Brett,
got more.
Brett is like the funniest person in this
Not
office.
true. Not true.
He is quick.
And what's scary is I do have a filter. A lot of people don't think I do, but most of what I think I don't say.
Okay.
Which is safe.
Yeah.
I've learned.
Probably.
I need to I need to see that turned off sometime.
Do you know what? Look at my Day One off, the unplugged
Yeah.
journal. That's the one.
What was the
flies.
mental thoughts that we had?
Right. Deep thoughts.
Deep thoughts, that's right.
I ended up deleting it. I didn't have
Nice.
any entries. I'm like, why am I fooling myself? I'm never going to record this.
So you use the tags feature too, the no filter tag, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many
Nice.
separate journals do you have, Brad?
I have a lot, obviously, for testing.
Okay.
Here with
besides
Metadata.
testing,
Yeah,
yes.
but for personal stuff, I'll just have like my general personal thoughts journal. I have a work journal, and then I have a travel journal.
Cool.
But yeah.
Cool. I was thinking, so my wife's family's been planning a family reunion, and I thought it would be cool to get everybody on Day One and journal some things, and then we could compile them later for a book, and then pass those out to everybody, kind of as a collective.
That's a great idea.
Collective memory is, getting together and having like a 3-day, family reunion get together. So I
That'd
think
be cool.
there's a lot of possibilities like that. I know a user mentioned to me one time that they did this big, large family Disneyland vacation, and then he made a book of all the photos and some comments, and then sent them out as Christmas gifts. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
Idea.
That's what I would do. So I got on that tangent because of your travel journal. I would use something like that and maybe share it with somebody. So
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah. Those Day One books are so great too.
Yeah.
They feel so good. I love them.
they are cool.
Brad, last question for me. Do you ever reflect back on past entries?
I do sometimes. Yeah. Usually when I get those on this day notifications, I'll look back at them and think about what I was doing, who I was, what I was thinking, where I'm at now. That's always quite an eye-opening experience, I think. But yeah, it's really cool. That's one of my favorite things about Day One for sure.
On this day. Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That's all the questions I have.
Same. Thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
Good times.
I hope everybody had an enjoyable time getting to know Brad. I know we enjoy working with him. He's a fantastic member of the team.
Thanks, guys.
And if you have a toothache, he may have attended enough to learn about how to...
Nope.
Nope.
Just
I will
cast
walk
away
across the
it,
street.
with
Sure.
the ice skate.
That's all you need.
That's all you need, right?
Yeah.
Self-dentistry.
Yeah.
Good.
That's what I do. I do all my own dentistry.
Yikes.
Wow.
YouTube videos.
Oh, man. Are there self-dentistry YouTube
please.
videos? Because
I hope not.
I might find myself in a
No.
weekend hole of the YouTube spiral.
Don't search it.
Yeah,
Don't bother.
No.
So thank you so much, Brad, for being on the episode.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll have him back. Our plan is to have our team back on the show every once in a while and make sure we're getting updates. And thank you for sharing your contribution in 3.0. We're very excited about that release. Just one quick tip that I wanted to mention.
Please.
Because it's come up a few times, and I know it's been mentioned on the Facebook community page, is the difference between IFT and the activity feed. There are ways to get content from other sources into your Day One journal if that's what you want to do.
IFT, that is what you want to do.
IFT, that is what. Thank you. I'm telling you, he's so quick.
Oh, man.
IFT stands for if this, then that. It's a free service that you can connect a myriad of different services. Garmin, Fitbit, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. What else? There's those digital scales.
Worthland?
Mm-hmm.
Worthland? Is that right?
I'm not sure the name, but I know there's
Worthland.
Tons of different services.
Nokia just bought them, so Nokia.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But yeah, tons of different services that you can connect, and then you connect your Day One account and set up what they call applets. And what it does is when you create content or do a run or something on your Fitbit or have so many steps or a daily digest or whatever, then it automatically creates an entry for you in your Day One journal. And you set up which journal you want it to go to and stuff like that. But it's a really cool way to automate some of your content that you want in a journal. So let's say you have a fitness journal or something, a fitness tracker, and you wear a Fitbit device, you can connect that content and have it create entries in day one. So that's an automatic way to do it. The difference with the activity feed, which is a feature within day one, is you can connect a few different sources, including social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Foursquare, and your calendars and your photos and location data. And those are basically, it's a feed of content that you choose which ones you want to create entries from. And so it's more curated. So if you're doing Facebook, you're doing Instagram, you're doing Twitter, and you don't want all of your tweets in your journal, you can go into the activity feed and choose which ones you want to create entries from. So that's a difference between IFT, automatic, and activity feed, which is more curation. So I just wanted to bring that up as a cool tip. Depending on what you want, there are different ways to get content into your journal. So cool.
Since you mentioned the Facebook community, I want to say that there's been some great posts to that point. How you're using IFT, how you're using activity log. As we've talked about in the past with the podcast, that community is user-generated, user-ran, which I think is so awesome because everyone feels equal to just share and give ideas. And we're now over 700 users.
Yes.
Again, it's a grassroots effort, just talking about it a few times here and there in the podcast, but it's great to see that kind of engagement.
Yeah. No, and I'm super thankful for it. A lot of you are answering questions for each other, and I think that's great. You're sharing use cases and different things like that. I know one of them, Brian Anderson, has shared CLI scripts that he's written for different things.
Yes,
he had
iMessage.
one for messages,
Yes.
so you can import his iMessage messages on the Mac through the CLI tool. So really cool stuff you guys are sharing, and that's what it's for. It's for you guys and girls to share all your content and what you're doing. Not necessarily what you're writing in your journals, but how you use it, best practices and stuff like that. So please continue to do that. And thank you to Mike and Michelle for helping us out.
Yeah,
so
they do great work.
I love that thing. And you know what I also like? Sometimes...
And this is from a guy that does not like Facebook, so it's the feature of groups.
I'm officially not on it with my personal account.
Sure.
I have a business Facebook account for the podcast, or for the community page and for the day one help page or whatever, the main page.
Support.
So, yeah. But I think it's what they're doing on that group page is amazing.
It really is.
And I'm also thankful, and I want to give a shout out to the other day one members of the team that comment on some things. They're not obligated to. This is on their free time, whatever they want. But I know BJ has jumped on a few things and made some comments. Murphy has, Ryan does regularly, Cameron has. So thank you to the day one team for doing that. That's great.
Yeah.
We're appreciative of that kind of help.
And they learn as much as everyone else.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks you work at day one, you must be an expert. On the technical side they are, but not so much on the use cases. So that's where we can all learn from each other.
And specifically referring to the comment, I think it was one of our users, Mark, was writing about location and time zone stuff, and BJ jumped on, and they had this great conversation back and forth about kind of what the user would expect versus what we kind of do, and there was a great dialogue, and I thought that was neat. So what a great way. We can't expect the developers always to answer on there, but I think it's great when they do and are able to do so. So that's all I got, Brett.
Great.
All right.
In 2 weeks on next podcast, I think we're going to we're planning to do a deeper dive with one of our users, like we did Martin 2 weeks ago.
Another video one.
Yeah,
right?
That'll be great. This one's going to be on a very important topic, mental health.
Yes.
And using
so
day
important.
one.
Well, and just this past week, International Self-Care Day was on, and I made a little post on Twitter and Facebook. We had a great article written by a friend of ours, Josh Ginter, about journaling and how it relates to self-care. There's a lot of great tips in that article. So if you haven't checked it out, go to twitter.com/dayoneapp.
I was reading that article while I was getting a massage.
Nice.
Wow.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
Like
Yeah,
double
great.
self-care.
that's right.
Then you need to go write about it.
My hands are too tired to relax. Sorry.
But yeah, so if you want to connect with us, you can go to twitter.com/dayoneapp, or we're on Instagram @dayoneapp, and facebook.com/dayoneapp. And then the community page will have links below that you can check
community.
out. Yeah. And if you need help, we have help guides online, help.dayoneapp.com. There's a chat right there on the website if you need to connect with one of the support reps. And you can also contact us through the iOS and Android apps. There's a chat right inside the settings there. And then, as always, you can email us if necessary, support@dayoneapp.com. But email us on the podcast if you have questions, if you have tips, if you have things you want to share with the community that we could possibly bring up on the show. Write us in at podcast@dayoneapp.com.
We read and answer everyone, and that helps us guide where we want to go.
Exactly.
We're figuring this out as we go, right, Brad?
Oh yeah, you guys are doing great.
Your feedback, I think, has helped us improve, and hopefully we still are.
Yes.
You'll let us know if we're not.
Yeah. Yep. That too. It's good.
But we like it. So thank you so much for joining us this week. We'll see you in another 2.
Great. Thanks, Brad,
Thanks
for joining us. Bye, everybody.